Hi guys, welcome to this session on Microsoft Project. In this module, I want to have a look at cost variance and scheduling variance, which is part of the earned value analysis features that you get in Microsoft Project. So first of all, I have a small project on the screen where I haven't allocated any resources, so I'm going to go to the resource sheet. Now these are my resources, there's 4 people and then this product kit's material, and I am going to put that down at £50. Every time you use that it's going to cost £50. Everybody else is on £10 an hour. So if I go back to the Gantt chart and click on resources and assign resources, so coordinate teams, that's going to be everybody, assign, train staff, everybody, assign, develop product, let's say that's just going to be Anne and Bill. And the product kits, I just held my control key down there, assign. So let's say they need 10 kits to start off with, so that's gone up to £500. Design sign off, that can be Anne. Test product, that's going to be Bob and Dave, and they're going to need some kits actually, so I'll do all 3. And they probably would need 5 kits we'll go for. Testing sign off can be Dave. Market product can be Bill and Bob, and they will need some kits to market, so I'll assign them 20 kits. Oops, overtyped the wrong bit. Put that back in. 20 of them, and that'll do. Go live doesn't need anybody assigning, it's just a milestone. So just going back to this, make sure I've not destroyed that. So back to the Gantt chart. So now we've got our Gantt chart and we've allocated the people. I don't want that showing like that, so I'm just going to double click and set that to show the task names by just typing name in that space, task names. Okay, and now I need to save a baseline. Happy with that, so up to project, set baseline, baseline. You've got up to 11 baselines, but I just want the first one, baseline. Now once you've set a baseline, when you're using project, you should really go and use the tracking Gantt, and that shows you the baseline marker and the actual, so you can see both of them on there. And then what you can do after that is change this table to be the tracking table. So if I go view tracking, and then I normally edit this because you can't see the actual start date there, so if I just insert a column, so we want baseline start, so baseline start, there it is. Another one, insert column, baseline finish, and then baseline, insert column, baseline duration, can't see it for looking, there it is. So you've got an idea of when things are supposed to start, and I don't really want this column, so I'll just get rid of that. I'm not actually deleting that, I'm just giving that, getting rid of it, hiding it. If I just click back onto the normal Gantt chart, so the screen seems to have gone a bit funny there. There we go, back it is. Right, so we're ready for that. Now you can add extra columns there, so let's add the SV scheduling variance column. So you've got a percentage there as well, and the cost variance column, CV. So we haven't spent anything, and this is all triggered by a status state, and according to that, the status state usually is set as today. If I go to project, if it's not set, it will be today. So if I go and change that to the 15th, for example, you can see that I should have spent a certain amount of money based on that date. So if I hover over schedule variance, it tells you there what it basically is. It shows the difference between the cost terms between the current progress and the baseline plan. And that one shows you the difference between how much it should have cost and how much it actually costs to achieve this current level of completion to the status state or today's date. And if I just hover back over that, you get the little formula at the bottom. So budget cost work performed minus actual cost work performed, and that one is budget cost work performed minus budget cost work scheduled. So these are tools that you can use to check whether you're doing good or not doing good. Now, if for example I go and change some of this information, so if I say actual work, it's got 5 days there, actual duration, if I say was 5 days, it's completed and that's gone to 0. If you go 6 days, this starts costing you money. We haven't changed the scheduling and we haven't added anything extra, so everything's okay there. But if I put that to let's add something else to this resource wise. What task is this that I'm on? So this is core team. So let's go to develop product. Let's say develop product is already taken as 5 days. So everything is still okay, but let's say there's another 5 days left. And then when this starts clocking up 6 days, this will start costing us money. So at the moment it isn't costing us anything. Well, it's costing us this, but that's the actual cost. But in terms of scheduling and cost variance, it's still the same. So if I go into this and add some extra resources, so if I go assign resources and add, say, let's add Bob to this, assign, and add some more kits to this. Let's go 20 kits. Change that and close this. And then let's put this to, let's just say this is 100%. Let's go for 100%. And I'll put that back to 0. And why is nothing happening? You might be saying it's because the stated state is not past that date, so we need to change that. So go back to project, and go to the status state and put that forward to the 30th, say, and then you can see the cost coming up there. Now if I put 50% in there, this now shows. So the status state is quite key. If you forget, like I did, to change the status state, you're just going to get a 0 no matter what happens. So as you're updating your project, you're looking at this and it's giving you an indication of what that's cost you in terms of scheduling or cost from what you planned it to be on your baseline. Now you can also create a report that will pick up these fields, these two fields, and some of the earned value fields as well. Now where to do that is go to reports. So you've already got under costs an earned value report which will pick up this sort of information, and it tells you there a project earned value based on the status date, so that gives you another indication that you need to be thinking about the status date. If the actual course ACWP, which is this blue line, is higher than the BCWP, which is the orange line, that's a oops, you're over budget. So these are the fields that you need in your report if you're going to use this type of information. So there's the fields there, look. So that's what the budget cost work performed should be. Actual cost is there. That's what you're expected at the end of the project. So I want to recreate this little chart in a new one. So if we go back to report and go custom, not custom, new, I want new, I want a chart. I'll call it costs. I'll do. Get a blank screen. I don't want a column chart, so I need to change this to a line chart. There, line, got that. Let's just get dots on the screen because the fields in there are not what I want. So what I need to take off here is I need to go to costs, and I need to put this to time as well. Time, so I get the dates, I don't want it looking like that, so I need to edit the dates and change this duration to weeks. Let's say weeks. Looks a bit better, a bit higgledy-piggledy. So if I go to costs, what you want is the CV and SV fields. Then I don't need these work fields. Get rid of these. So now I've just got CV and SV fields, like so. Doesn't look great. Now, if you want the other earned value fields in here, you can create them by pulling these fields in, but it's probably best to do that into another or a different chart. So I'll just get myself a different chart. I want a line one. I want line with markers. Okay, comes in. Just move that down there, and then we just need to change the thing so it's the same as before. So time, edit the time to weeks. Okay, and we're going for cost, and then we want these three fields. So 1, 2, 3, and then we don't want the other fields because that's just messing it up. Get rid of them. Get rid of that. So this is very similar to the one I showed you earlier. So if this is bigger than that, not good. And that's your base budget cost work scheduled. So budget cost work planned, actual cost work planned. So blue does not want to be bigger than orange. So basically, if I go back to the tracking Gantt, as you're updating this project, let's say that was 5 days, actual duration is 0, that's just a milestone. Is that a milestone? Yeah. So just put that to 100% complete, and that should be 5 days. Let's say that was 7 days, and that's just a milestone, so we'll do 100% complete. Now this is the way I normally do update these sort of projects. I don't just type in 100% unless it's a milestone. So market product, let's say we needed to do an extra 2 days on this, so actual duration was 12, and we can add some more kits. So just mess this up. So let's go to resources. Let's say they need some more kits. Let's say they needed 30 kits to do this. Close that. And remember, the status date is not far enough forward to cover this. And then if I go 100% complete, the whole project's complete. And then I change the status date to be the 3rd of November. If I go back to project, status date, 3rd of November. I'll go for the 4th of November. Okay. So anything that caused 7th of the 10th, 19th of the 10th, 3rd of November. So let's have a look at the report. So that now will be under custom costs, and then you've got that report there. So blue is still higher than orange, so that's not great. And then you've got your cost variance and scheduling variance shown on there. So it's just a tool that you can use to monitor how you're supposed to be going on your project. So for example, if you've got a 10-month project building houses, you're supposed to build one house a month, but you find after the second month that you've only built one and you should have built two, so you're only 50% of what you should have been. You should have been at, say, the status date you're doing the report, the status date you should be 100% on that, but you're only 50% done. That's where all this will come in. It'll give you an indication of what's that costing you in terms of cost and schedule, in terms of cost. So that's why they're used, and that's why it's used quite commonly in project management. But that's all I wanted to show you, basically just the way you get the information to put in these fields, and what triggers it. Basically the status date, you have to save a baseline, you have to use the status date, otherwise it doesn't work. And there you go. There are other earned value fields if you want to have a look at those in the actual tables, earned value tables. You get all of these. So you've got earned value, so put that on, apply. So that gives you these fields. So you've got scheduling variance, cost variance there within this. If I go for another one, then you've got the cost indicators and the scheduling indicators. So apply. Yeah, so anything less than 1's not good. And then you've got the other one, which is just the reverse of that. Not the reverse, but the opposite one. And again, you want a number above 1. We've already seen that before. Okay, so that's all I want to talk about in this little video. Hopefully that was of use to you. Thank you for your time. I'll see you on the next one.